Welcome back to Opening Statements. Let's talk about defendant Stephan Sterns. You know, we hope to see that guy. He's the man accused of murdering Madeline Soto in court on Monday. He had a court date, but he waived his arraignment. So we didn't see him this morning. We're shining a spotlight on Sterns, the allegations against Sterns, and of course, Madeline Soto, the victim in all this. So he's accused of murdering the 13-year-old child who was the daughter of his girlfriend, Jennifer Soto. He's also accused of sexually abusing her as well. He's facing over 60 sex crime charges pertaining to Madeline. Madeline disappeared on February 26th. Her body found on March the 1st. And authorities believe that Soto was already dead when Sterns did television interviews like this one with local station WFTV. Take a look.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that y'all had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said thanks, love you too. That was it.
Prosecutors now have 45 days to decide if Sterns will face the death penalty. So let's talk about the next steps for him. I have two great guests standing by to help me do that. The state attorney in Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Ehrenberg, is with us, and criminal defense attorney and trial advocacy professor Don Malarsig with us as well. And Don is death penalty certified. Great to have you both here. Dave, could we start with the arraignment? For anyone unfamiliar with how things go in Florida, would you talk to us, please? How common is it for someone to waive arraignment on homicide charges like this?
Well, Julie, first you have first appearance, which is where the bond is set. He's not going to get bond because of the charges here. And sometimes they won't show up for the first appearance. They'll say, no, I'm not showing up, and then they'll reset it, and then he won't show up again, and then they'll just send it downtown. And it just prolongs the inevitable. And then for arraignment, you know, the lawyer can issue a plea on his behalf. But now this case is going to be treated with the maximum seriousness by the state attorney's office there. This is as serious as it gets. Not only do you have a murder, but you also have child sexual abuse. And so the real question is whether they'll seek the death penalty. But spoiler alert, they're going to seek the death penalty here. I just can't fathom that in a case like this, that this one gets a pass. It's not going to.
Right. Wanted to ask you about that, Dave. You know, I think we're all kind of just waiting for the other shoe to drop. In going back, I want to make sure we're not using the incorrect language here. So it seems this probably was a first appearance for him, that he decided either to waive that first appearance. Is it possible to waive that? Or do you think this could be that he just didn't want to show up for court and refuse transport?
Yeah, so at least in Palm Beach County, I'm sure it's the same where he is, that the jail is attached to the first appearance courthouse. And so they bring him in from the jail, and sometimes the inmate says, no, I'm not going. And so, okay, so you go to the court and say that he's not showing up. So they reset it for a couple days later. And then if that happens again, then they just send the case downtown. They issue a no bond here. And then he just sits in jail waiting for the case to go to arraignment. And then he'll eventually go to trial.
So it sounds like that may have been what happened. We didn't get a lot of information, but all of this context from you really helps immensely, Dave. Thank you. Don Malarsig, I want to bring you in on what this guy's potentially facing, and that is potentially the death penalty, as we know. Talk to me here about some of the concerns his lawyers are having right now and the things that they're doing kind of behind the scenes.
Well, the concerns are obviously that the state's going to seek the death penalty, and there's really a sense of helplessness with the defense attorneys because there's not a whole lot you can do. You don't really have a whole lot of input traditionally because you haven't gathered your mitigation. So what you're trying to do as a defense attorney is, number one, you're looking for co-counsel, competent, qualified co-counsel to help you through this death penalty case. You're also putting together your team. That team involves a private investigator, a mitigation specialist, someone who's familiar with mental health, someone who can track down records, school records, mental health records, criminal history records, employment records. You're really going back literally 3 generations to find out, are there mental health issues, substance abuse issues, issues of abuse, neglect, dependency. You're trying to find out every single thing you can about your client and his family that could possibly at some point affect a juror years from now and help that juror find a way to a life sentence.
Don, I appreciate all of that. A lot of work involved, a lot of commitment. I can't even imagine the hours that you put in on these cases. I have a clip here I want to play for you both. This is again from a local station in Orlando, WFTV. Here they're interviewing Jennifer Soto, Stephan Sterns' girlfriend, Madeline Soto's mother. Let's watch.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it.
Dave Ehrenberg, a lot of people watching this case around the world are wondering if mom's going to face some charges here. Your thoughts on that, please?
You know, Julie, it's too early to say. I mean, there are no charges for being a bad person, but when it comes to a crime, was she a principal? Does she help dispose of the body? We just don't know so many things. And based on her willingness to interview without a lawyer present, and maybe that does seem to indicate that she wasn't part of it. Of course, so did the defendant, but the defendant seems like a sociopath. I mean, the mother just seems more clueless. I mean, she's the one who took up with this horrific individual who allegedly did this. But, you know, it's too early to say whether she would face charges. There's still time for prosecutors, but the fact that she hasn't been charged yet does tell you that it's not so easy to charge her. The evidence isn't clear yet.
Right, Dave. Don, I want to go back to you, please, on the death penalty and Stephan Sterns. Knowing that he's got another outstanding criminal case pending in the system, the one with the 60 child sex crimes charges pertaining to Madeline. Investigators revealed they have evidence on his cell phone of very explicit child pornographic pictures of Madeline. And knowing this, knowing he's also got the homicide case pending, let's just say, for the sake of our analysis, that prosecutors do file notice to seek the death penalty. If you're one of Stephan Sterns' attorneys, are you trying to negotiate some type of plea agreement involving both of these cases for a very lengthy amount of time?
Yes, absolutely. In most death penalty cases, your job, your number one goal, and your sole function is to avoid a death sentence. So I would be looking at the evidence. What kind of evidence do they have that supports the child pornography charges? And obviously, those charges carry significant prison time. And if there's overwhelming evidence on his phone of recorded acts, then you have an incentive, a duty, an obligation, and a responsibility as a defense attorney to go to the government and ask for some kind of a resolution that resolves both of these matters without the death penalty and probably puts Mr. Sterns in prison for the rest of his natural life.
Don Milarczyk, thank you for all of that.